you're gonna have big bank days and you're gonna have broke days, and that's just the way the business grows.
But I love that, Sean, that I can win big. And if you don't swing for the fences, you don't have a shot at hitting a grand slam.
And it's all within your control.
Right. Because I don't just want to get to first base every day. Oh, thank you for my paycheck. Can I have permission to get 2 weeks off? No. Can I go to the bathroom? Can I go home? Can I take a personal time? No. If I take a day off, it's at my risk or my reward.
Right.
And I'm responsible for me, nobody else. If I fail, it's my fault, not anybody else. We're back. Welcome to another episode of Impactpreneurs. I'm your host, Davrick Lyles, along with my partner,
Sean Alexander.
It's another good week, man.
It's a good week.
And why are we wearing red? Why don't you tell the folks why we're wearing red?
It's Red Friday. Remember, everyone deployed. So for all the military personnel that's overseas right now, that's what it's for. It was started in 2014, but I feel like over the last few weeks with some of the stuff that's been happening, it's kind of resurfaced the urgency of doing it. And when I found out about it, I made a post, and I just kind of had all my people start to do the same thing. So every Friday now, we're all going to wear red every single Friday.
Nice.
As long as we have to.
And what's interesting is you brought this to my attention. I wasn't even aware of it. I'm an ex-military person. I don't know why it wasn't more... It wasn't put out there more on social media, or is it?
I think that's what it was. I think because, with the craziness that's going on in Afghanistan, and the more recent 13 fallen soldiers, certain things are starting to arise, and now that social media is just becoming more exposed, or social media is exposing more things. I came across it and I was like, holy shit, I've never even heard of this.
Yeah.
And I was surprised I had never heard of it since 9/11 and all that stuff after that. So I'm surprised we didn't hear anything about it. But then, like I said, once I discovered it, I was like, okay. I made a post last week on Saturday. Moving forward, every Friday, I'll be doing it along with my clients, my coaching clients, and people that I'll be meeting with. We're just going to make it a thing.
Yeah, because I know in Seattle it was Blue Friday for the Seahawks. Now it's I know. Now it's gonna be Red Friday, right?
And you're actually wearing the right shirt for it too. American Lives Matter, and because that's what happened. A lot of American lives were left behind.
Still are. So, well, I know our topic today is going to be about when is the right time and why and how you should start your own business, right?
Yeah, that's there's a fine line for that, for whether you are in a relationship or not. What kind of job you're in, if you're in a high-paying job, if you're in a low-paying job. There's so many factors involved in the equation that I think makes it very difficult for some people to figure out, like, how do I make a transition? How do I start? Where do I start? When do I start? And when do I know when to jump?
Well, let's talk about that. Why did you start your own process of owning businesses and being self-employed and maybe an entrepreneur or a business owner?
So I always had the thought process for many, many years since I was young, but I just didn't know much about how to get started. So I was in the fitness industry, and I transitioned out of the fitness industry and went into the financial advising business, and I did financial and insurance. And I did that for about 4 or 5 years, and that's when I first started my actual career of self-employment, business owner, entrepreneurship. And I learned a lot through that. But I was involved with some very unethical, immoral people. And after 3, 4, 5 years, I started thinking about wanting to leave. So I took off, and I was like, you know what? I'm out of here. I can't be a part of this. I'm not a fan of people who talk and preach about God, but literally do all the exact opposite. So I left. I went back into fitness, and I took all my skills and I went into a corporate job where I became a health club builder in SoCal, developing sales teams. And I did that for about 6 or 7 years
Wow.
before I moved to Vegas. And obviously, so
Making a good 6-figure.
I was making great. I was number one sales guy in the company, number one sales in personal training, number one sales in sales overall. I had the number one sales team, and I had developed other 6-figure earners. And I was very close with the owner, the CEO, and his brother, who was the vice president. But over some time, certain things took place. They brought on some new executive members I didn't get along with. I didn't agree with their ways, and then a lot of craziness just occurred.
Did they change the pay structure?
No, they tried to, but I had already threatened that I'm going to leave if they changed mine, so they kept it. But I kept bumping heads with the new exec team because they were just old schoolers and they hadn't been in the game and in the grind for a long time. And I'm like, listen, your way is not going to fucking work. I'm like, I've been in this for a long time,
Right.
And I'm still in it.
Well, I always run into that when I was working as an employee. We'd find that great success level where we get to the Aspen level as an employee, which really is an Aspen. We'll call it Mount Rainier.
Sure.
So, but we would be killing it, and then somebody come in, and they're making too much money, and for somebody to say that, just the mindset. Listen to what you're saying.
It's fucked up.
You're telling a person they're making too much money when they're making the company millions of dollars,
Yeah.
and they're getting pennies on the dollar if you really look at it, right? And you want to change that?
It's greed.
It is.
It's super greed. One of their exec members had told me, Sean, you're too powerful in your position. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And they're like, you have too much control of what you can and can't do. You're able to call too many shots. And I'm like, but I'm not trying to manipulate anything. I'm just trying to call the shots that I know is going to continue to make the company millions of dollars while I make 10 to 20% of that.
And if I had you on my team, I'm like, leave Sean alone. Leave him the fuck alone. Hey, Sean, do you want to have equity?
So here's the thing. It's funny you said that.
I surround yourself with people that are better doing what you do than you are.
It's funny that you said that because the previous exec team did exactly. They're like, leave Sean alone, let him do him and do his team. We'll take care of everybody else. And that was the case. And then as they brought in a new exec team and the old one left, they started to try to revamp and restructure everything. And I'm like, why are you trying to change what's not broken?
It's called, they want to be a change agent, and then also feel like they're doing something, so they have to flex their muscles.
Well, they wanted the ownership to look at them like these guys are impact players. They just changed the face of our business, and that wasn't the case because what they did was actually killing a lot of the business. And they're like, Sean, the reason why it's not working is because you're fighting us and you're not doing what we need you to do. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll reason with you. I'll do your way with my team for the next 30 days. I won't sabotage it. I'll go all out just the way I have been, but I'll do it your way. Let's see what happens. And I did it their way for 30 days. They call me in and they're like, why are the numbers so bad? And I'm like, well, it's because I did your way. And they're like, well, no, you sabotaged. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I've worked 7 days a week for the last 4 weeks. I haven't taken a single day off, and I've ran 20 hours a day, like 18 hours a day at the time. And I'm like, I didn't sabotage anything. I've been there in and out every day. Even when I'm working out, I'd still go and just check the numbers and help whoever needed help. And so it just went back and forth to a point where I'm like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm like, you guys want to change the ways that we're doing business, which is going to hurt everybody overall. So I'm just going to peace out. And I took off, came to Vegas, and then that's where, the rest is history.
Wow. And you just lived off your savings until you
I
figured
did.
it out.
So going to, I didn't mean to go off tangent. So going to that, I had saved a significant amount of money to make that jump and go all in on just myself. Obviously, you don't recommend everybody to do that. It's not like I have children. So I don't have a family that I had to worry about. I could just run this thing as hard as I can, and that's what I did. But like I said, I had saved a lot of money to sustain for a while, to just get my feet wet, to start to at least replace the income of my expenses.
Right.
And that's and the rest became history. And like I said, the first 2-3 years out here, I kept my head down, stayed super quiet, and just built everything from the ground up.
But you did that twice when the original lockdowns came because of COVID.
That was the second round I did it. Yeah.
Okay, so you've done it twice.
I've done it twice.
So you could teach somebody to do that.
Correct.
Got it. So what was the second situation? If you
The
can
second
talk about it?
situation, I was just at a point where I was blissfully dissatisfied.
Sounds like you want to go to a new level.
Money was good. It was great to most people for my standard and where my mind and what I expect out of life was. It just wasn't enough. And as soon as they even made word of lockdown coming in, I think they told us a couple weeks in advance as other states started to lock down. I was like, you know what? I'm like, as much as it's gonna suck, I'm actually gonna take full advantage of this.
So that's how you knew it was ready to go.
Yeah. So because when that happened, I literally buckled down, started game planning everything for the next 3 or 4 months. Like I handled my business with some clients, but most of my time was just dialed into restructure everything and reopen a couple other businesses between coaching for recovery and mental health, coaching in business and mindset. And then, by the time lockdown opened up, I relaunched all three coaching businesses full throttle. And then through that, some other great blessings have happened at the same time.
Got it. And I'm assuming your income took a dip when you did that.
Yeah, but I was okay with it. Because I knew, like I said, you can either look at situations like that as a problem or as an opportunity. And I looked at it as, man, this is a perfect opportunity because now I don't have an excuse to be distracted because you can't really do much. I was like, so why not? Let me just buckle down and start putting everything on paper. I don't have much to do. You can't really go anywhere.
Sure.
And so let me start restructuring and rebuilding all my plans. And whenever this thing opens up, I can just go full throttle. And that's what I did.
Wow, that's awesome. And it's the ability to teach somebody what you've done and duplicate that is priceless.
I think that's the most important part. That's what.
But do you feel anybody can do that? Do you feel, what does it take? Like what chemical makeup or what makeup of a person? Because I don't believe anybody can just start their own business. I think there's certain people that just don't have that mindset. Is that a fair statement from your opinion?
On their own, correct.
Okay.
With guidance and coaching, 100%.
Because there's some people that don't want to own a business.
Yeah, they don't want the responsibility. Listen, as much as grand as extreme elite level players, as much as grand as their lifestyle looks, it's not easy. Like, yeah, they say it's easy. Yeah, they say they have a good time. They're having fun. But building that shit, no one will tell you it's easy. Andy Frisella, who's worth a couple $100 million, he talks about it all the time. It's fucking hard.
It is hard.
It's not easy. It's not something where you can just kick back one day. I mean, sure, you build time around that stuff where you want to just go relax, kick back. And, obviously once you're worth a certain amount, yeah, you start to slow down. But when you're at a level like that, a guy like that who wants to make such a big impact in the world and is leading by example, he'll tell you, like, dude, it doesn't fucking stop. I don't slow down. I will go 7 days a week. My day is, he just talked about it the other day. Like, I go 7 days a week. I don't want to take vacations. I don't want to leave my states. I like to be a homebody. I wake up, I do my workout, I go to work, I take care of shit at work, and then I go home and repeat the fucking process every day. Is because I got bigger things to take care of, and that's what I like to do.
That's awesome.
And that's kind of how before knowing that, I started doing that, coming out of lockdown. And it's worked. Like there's no argument against it. And I said this before, balance is bullshit. I don't believe in balance. I think balance is for fucking people that want to be princesses and just fucking hang out and relax and chill. Like, yo, dude, you want to fucking chill and have balance? You can either cut some of your wins and relax, or you want to slow down at a certain point once you've hit a certain number. Great, but for me, I'm not wired for balance. I don't want it, and I've tried it before. It just doesn't work for me.
No, it's
you started from scratch. You left everything behind in Seattle, dipped, and came over to Vegas and started over.
Yeah,
in a sense,
kind of. Yeah.
So
yeah.
like, what's your story on that? Because yours is similar, but you mentioned to me like you didn't even know anybody when you came here.
Not really.
Except your girlfriend.
No, and the realtor I knew from 2009.
Sure.
But, yeah. Well, so I'm obviously in the technical recruiting consulting business. I've been doing it over 2 decades. But when I got out of the Army, I had a skill set that wasn't good for civilian lifestyle, right? Maybe a bounty hunter.
Remind people what you did.
I went and found people for the military.
Okay.
And then, did assignments and took out certain responsibilities or things that were in the way, drugs, Central South America. But I got out and I said, man, well, I was good at negotiation, right? Because I had to be, even though I didn't speak Spanish.
Communication, right?
Yeah, communication. So I got in the cell business, cellular phones when they first came out. I remember the Motorola Flips and the Nokias and the Crackberries, I used to call them, and the Audio Vox. So I was good at selling, but when I was younger, I'd always look at the person at the job. When you're younger in high school and you got all these crappy jobs, and you see that guy. I'm going to use Bob, fictionary character, and Bob's working at Domino's. He's been there 20 years, folding boxes, and I'm like, man, I don't want to be that guy. He's happy, but what Bob has, I don't want. What I want, he doesn't have. And so my biggest fear growing up was to do the same job over and over and over for 30 years. I couldn't imagine doing it. And now I know our parents and our grandparents, that was a thing.
That's how they raised us, though, too.
Right. During the Industrial Revolution, everybody got a job, right? So I was selling phones in retail and business, but I hit the ceiling. I could only make so much money.
Yeah.
And I was there. I was stuck. I tried to go to corporate sales. Didn't work out. I said, what am I going to do? So one day, I literally sat down and I said, how am I going to get in the computer industry? Because we call it computer industry. I'm not going to go to college. I barely got out of high school. I'm not going to start a business. I have no money. So I wrote on a whiteboard, be a middleman, and I can be a recruiter. So I walked around with my suit and a resume. We had no email, and I got a job at a boutique agency. I talked about it last time. Fast forward, I saw Jerry Maguire, the movie, and it motivated me, right? Because he got fired because he wrote a mission statement. And it was less is more, meaning focus on quality, not quantity.
Right.
And they let him go. And he was one of the top performers. He only left with one agent, and that was Rod Tidwell, right? Help me help you, Jerry, right? So I'm at this company, and it's like, I'm not making any money. I'm making the company millions, literally millions and millions of dollars. Corporate accounts like Boeing, Providence Medical Center, Microsoft, these big companies. And I'm getting this much money.
Yeah, you're getting a fraction of what you're bringing in.
And I'm doing all the work. I have the position. I go find the candidate. I find the hiring manager. I negotiate, get him on a contract or full time. I saw the movie. Literally the next day I came in. There was two guys I work with. I said, Brent and Trent. I said, hey,
Is that the real name?
Yeah, Brent. And he's working with me. To this day, Brent is working with me on a project right now. And the other guy, Trent's in New Zealand. I haven't talked to him in years. But we left. I said, hey, I'm taking the Goldfish. Who's coming with me? I had $300 to my name, but I knew I could do what I did because I've been doing it for 18 months.
Right.
And I took my one client, just like the Rod Tidwell, and I said, hey, if you like working with me, I'll perform. Let me help you. Help me, Jerry. And from that day on, we took off, and it was before the first, I think it was 2000, the Y2K issues. We made money off that. But when 2000 hit, we were out of business. I sold before that. At the end of the day, I got excited. It was like crack. I was free. Even though I worked harder, I got a bigger reward. And I think we generated $1 million in gross revenue for the whole company that year. I didn't make that much, but as a team, right? And then from that point on, I tried going full time at a tech company, didn't work. So I just contracted, consulted, and I perfected my craft. But what I found is like the gentleman you mentioned, I work a lot, but I love it. But I also, like last night, I was 10:30. I was working a deal with the owner of a startup at Palo Alto, trying to get this deal done. But I like it because
Does he need to go public?
What?
Does he need to go public?
Yeah, he does. He's bootstrapped financially. So meaning bootstrapped, he's financing himself.
So we'll talk about that
talk about it later.
outside of this.
Okay, good.
Perfect.
Good point. So thanks, man. Another deal.
Right.
Another day. Anyways, at the end of the day, I'm working. Yeah, I'll take a moment to take a breather. Like right now, we're doing a podcast. But I guarantee you when I get out of this podcast, I'm back on the phone.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you just mentioned a couple key things. Whether you're financially prepared and you have the savings, or whether you are going to start the side project while you still maintain your job till that side project starts to replace that income, and then you can take off. There's the number one. I'd probably say the number one attribute that you have to take into consideration is prepare to not have a life.
Yes.
When you want to make that jump, because you have to be ready to go 24/7, 365. until it really gets off the ground. And then even then, I mean, depending on how big and badass you want to become at it, you don't, that never slows down. That never stops. But you do have to be prepared to go full throttle, all in. And, you know, I've changed my vocabulary on this. I used to say sacrifice now for the future, but now I look at it as I'm not sacrificing anything. I'm investing into my future.
Yeah.
My time, I'm not sacrificing any time. I'm investing it into my future self and my future businesses. And that's really where I think most entrepreneurs or self-employed people that want to go solo on their own end up failing.
Yeah.
Because they think becoming their own boss means like I can have control of my own schedule. And technically, yes, I'll work 5 days a week, take Sunday off, half a Saturday. It doesn't work like that. Like, you have to be prepared to go 7 days a week and work like you've never worked before.
Yeah, and I might have a day where like a Saturday or Sunday, but it doesn't mean I'm not available. So
Well, you're still working. Like, even if you or I are out and about, we're still working.
yeah.
It doesn't slow down. The
my
phone
emails
doesn't
come
stop.
in. My emails come in. I might say, hey, can we talk on Sunday? Yeah. Or I also prep Sunday for Monday. So,
That's work.
So when I come into Monday, I'm not behind the 8 ball. And I think the other thing too, I used to have the mindset of the fear of failing. Now I love failing because I fail forward.
Well, it's not really failing, like they say. It's lessons learned.
Right. So fear is false evidence appearing real.
Correct.
Right. And like this week, I'll give you an example. I had $65K taken off the table that was guaranteed revenue.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
it wasn't guaranteed because I didn't get it, but it was there. And the startup did a reorg because there was an acquisition.
They screwed up.
And I'm sitting there like, I can either pout, what was me? I tell you as a business partner, you know, it's funny to me because now I know there's a win coming. And today I closed, not a big deal, $15K deal, but I worked on it for 2 days straight with a founder of a startup, Bootstrap, that was hard to negotiate with, and the candidate who's in Canada on a TN visa. And I'm sitting there going back and forth with these guys, put them together. Today he's like, we're bringing them on Tuesday, 15 grand. And this is a guy that says he couldn't get it done with any other consulting company out there. 30 times he couldn't get it done. My first try, I got it done.
Because you stayed on top of it.
And I understand what his needs were because I dissected the needs.
But you just said the biggest, well, yes, number one, you dissect the needs, but number two, your follow-up didn't stop. That's another part where people fall short. You can't, these little things that people overlook, you can't miss them. You can't miss the follow-up. Sometimes, like, you might be a prospect for me in any one of my businesses, and it might not work out right now, but you're telling me, Sean, follow up with me in a couple months. You're fucking putting my calendar, dude, and I'm following up with you in exactly 60
Oh,
days.
yeah.
Or I'm going to ask you, Dav, what's a good time? When should I follow up with you? And you tell me, follow up with me in November. Great. November 1st, you're going to my calendar and I'm following up. Like, you can't just look at business and money today, transactions for today or next week. You got to look at business transactions because you got to set up the pipeline every single month for the whole year out. Because you never know. Because you and I could be talking about something and you want to do business with me. You're not ready to. And we've talked about certain numbers. But then 6 months later, when I follow back up with you and you tell me, Sean, I'm ready to pull the trigger, but now there might be even more money involved as well.
Right. Exactly. And so I'm excited because that thing that happened Monday and Wednesday with that $65,000, I kind of laughed to myself because I knew it wasn't forever. You're going to have lows, but you can't let it get you down. Do you think not my favorite quarterback, the GOAT, Tom Brady, do you think that when he lost the Super Bowl, he gave up? No, he went back and won again. And then he won with Tampa Bay. It's like this ass, right? No, but you got to hate to love the guy, right?
Well, but that's just it. You're gonna have big bank days and you're gonna have broke days, and that's just the way the business grows.
But I love that, Sean, that I can win big. And if you don't swing for the fences, you don't have a shot at hitting a grand slam.
And it's all within your control.
Right. Because I don't just want to get to first base every day. Oh, thank you for my paycheck. Can I have permission to get 2 weeks off? No. Can I go to the bathroom? Can I go home? Can I take a personal time? No. If I take a day off, it's at my risk or my reward.
Right.
And I'm responsible for me, nobody else. If I fail, it's my fault, not anybody else.
And here's the thing. Chances are, if you do it right, where, again, a lot of more startup entrepreneurs fail, is if you do it right and you set yourself up for vacation, you're setting up some calls while you're gone on vacation. You're not just sitting there not doing anything, totally relaxing.
No. Let me make sure I've done this, and honestly, I haven't had big vacations in the last 15 years. I've had maybe one or two, and they were small. They weren't like, we're going to the Bahamas, we're going to Spain. It's like, we're going to Vegas. Okay, we're going to L.A. I haven't been to Hawaii. I haven't been on vacation. But when I do go out of town and it's for an event like with Iris and we go to take 4 days off, I am 2 weeks ahead of everything being planned on my calendar to the T. So my calendar is booked out. So when I take those 4 days off, I'm not even off. Like it's funny because we travel. She's like, I bring my MacBook with me.
Yeah, you're still working.
And just in case there's a fire drill or emergency, but I'm still on my phone when I'm going to the bathroom. I'm emailing clients. Okay, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah.
That's how I live.
There's a mental preparation when you're ready to go on your own too. We've talked about mindset before. I think this kind of takes it a little bit to another level when we're talking about, going off on your own and preparing to start a business. Not like you're falling into one, it's already taken place and you're just kind of getting handed a position. There's a lot of growth, development, reflection about what you're walking into, what you're going to be doing, and are you actually ready for it? Because sometimes, like, everything might be in place. Money, house, your current job, the business that you're about to start up. Everything might be in the right place, but you yourself, if you're not mentally ready to make those commitments that it's going to require, don't jump.
Yeah, you have to have a warrior's mindset. William Wallace, right? The warrior, right? You have to be. I mentally promote. I'm going to war and I'm excited about it. I'm in a battle.
Yeah, and you have to learn how to be grateful for the losses too. Like you have to be great. You have to be exceptionally grateful for the treachery and the fucking hardships and all the difficult times, and knowing that there's going to be difficult times that come in your first 3 to 6 months. There are very few people that hit it off right out the first day, boom, slam dunk, and they're already rocking and rolling.
And if they do, the chance of them, and I say this with latitude, I've seen a lot of people do that, and they don't end up staying around because the first time they fall on their face, they quit. It was like they if I get up in a Yankees uniform, I'm not a baseball guy, and the guy throws a pitch and I happen to hit a home run, and then the rest of the season I'm striking out, I'm not getting on base, I'm going to quit because I didn't understand how hard it was to get that home run. I just took it for granted.
Yep.
Right. And so, hey, Tommy, your dad's on our golf, stewardship golf club, and he says you're starting a company. I'm going to give you this deal. Thank you, Bob. And now he's making, $500,000 a year. And then all of a sudden, hey, we're restructuring the company. We're gone. He's got to go out and fend for himself. He's going to fail because he just had it handed to him.
And he's sitting on one deal.
One deal. 100% of his revenue is tied to one deal.
One deal, which you can't do that either.
And I learned the hard way with that too. Yeah. So absolutely. And you feel as you're moving forward, I feel like sometimes you take 10 steps forward, you take 4 back, and then you take 10 steps forward, 6 back. And it's kind of a process.
But here's the thing. Sometimes there are moments, and I think you would agree with this. I'm not sure. Sometimes you do take 2 steps forward and 10 steps back because it's necessary. Like, for example, when you asked me, what did I do when we went into lockdown? That was me taking 10 steps backwards because I allowed myself to lose 80% of my income because I could have still held on some clients, but
right.
it gave me an opportunity to take advantage of. So I cut 80% of my income, and I cut a lot of my ties with just with outings and travels, obviously, because just certain things were restricted. So I made the decision that if I'm gonna do this right, then I'll take the 10 steps back because I know that when I come out of this, I'm going to take 20 steps forward.
Now, I can't talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it, but you can't talk about it. But I know that you like that. I'm the guy. Hey, I'm going to cross the. You're stepping into something you can't talk about. But no, I'm not going to throw you under the bus. But you knew I was going to say something. You can't talk about the name of the company.
Not yet.
You can't talk about what you're doing. But here's a guy that has 3 or 4 businesses and going into a 4th or 5th business.
Right. One of them is publicly traded company already.
And you can't talk about it
No.
for SEC regulations,
Right, that's
which I respect.
Securities Exchange Commission.
But I have to call it out because I think people assume that, oh, I can go start a business. No, there's a dude doing 4 or 5 different things and has a relationship with friends and loved ones and others, and working out and training and taking his time to invest in other people. And so if Sean we all have the same 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you're making it work.
Well,
And so I get people this is why I'm bringing this up. This new opportunity is a grand slam.
yeah, but it wasn't a walk in the park.
No, you had to prove yourself.
I busted my balls for it. But that's the thing, like, because, I actually just posted about this the other day. You know how people say, work smarter, not harder? I think it's so flawed. Like, why can't you work hard and work smart?
Right.
Because what happens if you bring both of those together?
Because I think if you're working smart, it is harder. Because you could be dumb and work.
To an extent, because a lot of people say, oh, well, if you work smarter, not harder, then you can accomplish what you would in 10 hours in 5 hours. That's great and all, but then why don't you just multiply those 5 hours by 4 and go 20 hours?
And Sean posts a lot of this stuff on his stories, on his Instagram. At the beginning of this video, the intro, he has his IG. Make sure you follow him. He's got a lot of great stories that he put some great affirmations out there, statements, and I read some of them, not all of them, but there's a lot of good stuff out there because we're all busy. But go ahead and follow him on his Instagram. Again, go to the beginning of the video. His IG's on there.
Yeah, it's Sean _Parview_Alexander. Yeah, and so I really just talk about, I put stuff on there about perspective of my life experiences, perspectives on business, on people, on growth, on mindset. It all varies. It all just depends on what kind of thoughts I had throughout the previous day, what kind of interactions I had, if anything triggered like certain thoughts for my next day of business, and I'll start to take notes. And then when I wake up, right away, my brain gets hardwired, and whatever my mind is on, I put it into, like, I guess you could say, like in a note formation, and just kind of jot down different things of I'm kind of like throwing up on my words here. Just how to apply certain things in life or in business.
I want to bring this up, and because we kind of talked about it before the show about being in relationships and starting or running a business. Because you made a good comment. Balance is an oxymoron statement right now with owning a business. I think there is no balance. You have to everything's on a schedule. Everything's on a calendar. Even your relationships on a calendar.
The fact that people operate like that's not okay is...
Hey, you have a date night. You put it when you were dating your girlfriend or wife or significant other, a person.
It's
not
scheduled.
You scheduled it in your calendar. And if you say, no, we just knew it was Thursday at 4, well, that's because you don't have a lot going on.
Yeah, but that's also because you scheduled it. Every Thursday night, that's our fucking plan.
Right. So my advice is, if you're in a relationship, you're thinking of starting a business, you have to sit down with your significant other and say, here's the value of why we need to do what we're doing. If we want to go to the next level, if we want a bigger house in Bel Air, or do you want to stay in Compton? Not beating up people in Compton. It's expensive in California, period. But if you want to live in Bel Air and you want a $15 million home, you want to be part of the yacht club in Marina Del Rey, then you're going to have to let me go out and expand my business, start a business, because me working for XYZ company is not going to get me there. And it's not just about that. It's how you impact people's lives. I can't take care of your mom and dad financially. I can't take care of my parents financially. I can't send my kids to college. We're not making enough money.
We're never going to have that dream vacation we want to take.
Yeah.
I mean, even like bringing it down to that level, like even if we remove the factors of big multi-million-dollar goals, even simple stuff like, you and Iris, for example, going on a grand vacation for like a week where you literally can shut off business and not be present for it, where it's just you and her.
I don't know if I can shut business
I don't
off.
think, no, not that you would, because you're not wired that way.
Right.
But if you wanted to, you want to be in a position where, like, I could just shut my phone off and we just go enjoy, where I'm 100% present with my partner.
Yeah.
Out of country, and not have to worry about a damn phone call.
But Sean, you and I both know that's coming real quick.
Correct. but that's my point is, that's part of that's. I think that's a big area where people fall short, is they just kind of attempt to jump ship, and there hasn't been a very precise conversation about This is what needs to happen. This is where we're at. If we want to get out of the situation, if we want to have a little bit more financial freedom, if we want to take that vacation, if we want to help out mom or whatever it is, you have to be able to have that conversation, because if your spouse isn't on board, and again, I'm not saying go break up, but if your spouse isn't on board with you wanting to make a move in running your own business, you're fucked.
Well,
It is nothing but a pure vertical battle with gravity pushing you down the whole way, because it's not going to work.
And we're not talking just the man wants to go start a business, the wife or the want to start a business, the husband's not on board. And you do put your family first, so you're going to have to make that decision, you know. I mean, but again, before you get married, and I don't want to be a counselor here, you need to have a conversation around what you want in life before you get married.
Well, when you go into a relationship, you just kind of it's funny you said this, because like I think a lot of people enter relationships and don't lay out what their lifestyle entails on the table before they enter it. They just kind of have fun with it and figure it out. And after 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks, they start to say, okay, this is my business life. This is how much time it consumes. This is what's going on. It's like, yo, dude, like you're way too late. So if you get fucked off and she starts yelling at you, well, you failed to communicate. So it's well deserved. But when you go on your first date, shit, you don't have to wait for the second date. Tell them first date. So neither one of you waste time. This is my lifestyle. This is how much time my business consumes. This is where all my time goes. I'll be lucky if I can maybe figure out a way for us to see each other a little bit more. But this is my life. Here it is on the calendar.
He's too busy. Well, good. Then you're
At least you know now.
Yeah, and so maybe if you're a busy person and you got a lot on the table, date a busy person, so they're not sitting around bored waiting for you. Now, if you got a lot of time on your hands and they got a lot of, that's great. I think that's a beginning. You're right. That's the first conversation. You know, it's interesting you said that. Why are we getting into relationships now? But it's
related to this.
It's true, because I remember, I had friends that were flight attendants when I was in Seattle, and they're like, I can't meet anybody. I said, why don't you date somebody that's super busy? Because
there's more appreciation.
Yeah, because you're traveling all the time. You're not available. You know, but I have these friends that, he's always busy or she's always busy. Well, dude, you knew that getting in that relationship. You're not going to change. If you try to change somebody, that's negative manipulation.
It's a recipe for disaster.
That is being a narcissist.
Or if you expect them to change for you, even if you're not going to tell them anything, but you expect them to, and if they don't, you get pissed off or upset. And then they're like, oh, this person's not making time for it. Like, well, you knew what you walked into.
Babe, before I dated Iris, I had dated this girl, very beautiful girl.
You said babe before I dated Iris.
Dude, whatever, babe. I'm not dating Sean. Hey, it's been a long day. So, babe. Sean's not my babe.
Oh, shit.
No, he's not my type. He's too big. So,
no, I'm not.
Anyway, so I said, hey, this gal, I said, listen, this is just how I am. And she called me an asshole. You're just a conceited asshole. I said, no, I'm a business-minded guy, and I want to expand and grow, do this and this and this. And I said, I need to tell you this before we start dating.
My priorities are
and my kids. And she's like, you're a conceited asshole.
No, you just have too much fucking free time, lady.
Instagram model. That's all she did, right? Just making good money too.
But you know what? That's the other thing too. We went so far off subject.
But I called you babe. How bad is that?
That's bad.
And I'm drinking water, not alcohol.
You just made me feel drunk by you saying that. I haven't drank in God knows how long. People in relationships, when one person has too much free time, there's going to be problems.
Yeah.
In a relationship, just in general.
Because their mind wanders, and then they start feeling like it's not about them.
Or they might think you're cheating on them or something, because like you're always busy.
Oh, dude, I've been there.
And I know you've been there. We've all been there. Like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm working. What are you doing now? I'm working.
I was in a conference meeting, and the girl started texting me, telling me I'm cheating on her. And I'm in a relationship with this gal that had too much time on her hand. We didn't live together. And every time I went to go meet a client, I was cheating on her. It's just like, this is so toxic.
So,
that's my fault though.
This is what, I don't like saying this, but there's truth. I am. There's truth to it. If you are single and you're about to start up your own business, stay single.
Yes.
For a long time.
Yes.
You want to go have fun, fine. But when it comes to actually like dating, for the intention of a relationship and you're in the beginning of starting up your business, don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's a big mistake, and obviously neither one of us are anti-relationships. We're both in relationships, but you will have a very hard time being able to make the proper commitments and the investments of time into your business if you attempt to start dating somebody while you're in the midst of your startup, and you won't be able to take it as far as you want. And because you're in the beginning too, you won't even realize, understand, or be aware of how much of your time that should be going into your business isn't going into, it's going to the relationship that you're trying to establish, and you're not going to make it either.
And you know what happens when you get it, and even if that relationship's good, it's bad for your business because you go on a honeymoon phase where the first 90 days you're in la la land.
Yeah.
And all you can think
great.
about, cloud nine. And
Hang out, date nights, lots of sex, and like it just
Netflix
kind of,
and chill. Yeah.
you know.
And then the next thing you know, your business starts going backwards because you were unfocused. You were unevenly yoked with your business.
It's funny you said that. So I had a client.
It's not as funny as I calling you babe.
I know that's not. I tell all my business and mindset coaching clients this: the moment you stop doing what got you to that specific point, the universe will slowly start taking things away from you. Free time, money, business, clientele. And it's not going to do it all at once where you're like, holy shit, what the fuck happened? It's going to be piece by piece where you don't recognize it. So the universe or God, whatever you believe in, I believe in God, will start taking it away small by little, kind of giving you hints like, I'm going to take this away from you. Then I'm going to take this away from you. Now I'm going to take 3 clients from you. And it's so small that God doesn't want to impact your life dramatically and throw you into the floor, but would just slowly start stripping. And then one day you're going to wake up and you're like, holy shit, what happened to my business? I've lost too much money. I lost 6 clients. And you have to be weary of that because you stopped doing what got you to where you were.
You have to have discipline.
You, if anything, you should be doing more than what you did to get you to where you were to keep the business growing. I think that is that's probably in the top 2, top 3 of areas where people start to screw up their business. They start to get comfortable of the money they're making, and they start doing other things and less of how they got there in the first place.
Right.
And we talked about momentum before. That's where your momentum breaks, and rebuilding that momentum is very difficult because it's almost like a mind fuck. Knowing I built my business here, I sidetracked, and I lost all this business. Now I got to do those first steps all over again. It's like it messes with you, and you're like, how the hell am I going to rebuild this momentum? And it becomes hard. Every time you break momentum because it's your fault and you got to rebuild it, it becomes harder every single time.
And that reminds me of I don't know where I read this. I think I read it on LinkedIn. I read it in a book or something. But the best time to look for another job or another client is when you just got that new client or you just got the new job. So every day, every week, I've got people soliciting me for help with their business. I'm always keeping my options open. I'm always looking for another client. And yesterday I started putting the, reaches out, and I started getting feedback, and I'm evaluating. And then all of a sudden I hear yesterday the client goes, somebody called me when the manager said, hey, just to let you know, they're doing a reorg, but there'll be like 12, 13, 14 positions coming on. Even though it's a new company they acquired, I don't have a relationship with them, but I'm still going to bring up another client. Why? Because I can't rely on these guys. I can't rely on just the 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7.
Correct.
Right? So you always have to be looking and growing, because as soon as you get comfortable and do this, things are
money's
great.
good.
Put my feet up on the desk and be on Facebook all day, it starts going away.
You know what's funny too? That also ties in with people might hate me for this. This is what I call bullshit gratitude. Because people are grateful because things are going great in that moment. Money's coming in, new clients, new business, expansion, and you're on a high. So you're extremely grateful because of all this abundance that's taking place. That's bullshit gratitude. Gratitude is when shit gets difficult and you got to go after the fucking grind. And even though all the abundance is coming your way, how do I create more? That's where your gratitude needs to be, is I need to go after the things that are difficult. This is happening now. It's coming in.
Right.
Now I got to figure out a way to make more and multiply my efforts. What do I got to do? Those hard times is where gratitude really counts. Because when Because if the opposite does happen, like I mentioned, shit starts getting pulled away
Right.
from you. Now you're like, oh fuck, what happened? Woe is me, and you lose perspective of everything all around you, and then all of a sudden you're not grateful anymore. So like your gratitude for overall life in general and what opportunities it gives you is non-existent. Because you only want to be grateful when times are good. And that's what I call bullshit gratitude. You have to be unconditionally grateful 24/7, 365.
And that's like this week. I had faith. Whether it's biblically or karma, whatever, spiritually, I'm like, I have faith it'll get better. I prayed about it. It'll be fine.
But
it'll
you
be
lost
fine.
65K deal, but you didn't slow down. You're like, okay, I lost 65K. I got to fucking hustle and grind and figure out how I'm going to replace that right away. And then fast forward 3 days later, you landed a 15K deal, and then there's more coming up in the pipeline.
3 days. Yeah. And it was funny because I mentioned this the other day to a business owner because of how things are going. I don't lie, but I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I said, it's been a tight week. It's been kind of challenging. Oh yeah. What happened? I said, I lost 65K today. They're like, and you're here? I'm like, yeah. Well, you don't seem affected. I said, I can be affected. If I'm affected, it's gonna be a triple effect. And I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to even have the option to get that. I told them, and you know this person, I won't say their name. They're a business owner. And then I said, but you know what? There's tomorrow.
I'm going to ask you off camera.
I know you will. But I said there's tomorrow and the next day.
Well, this is where the concept of fuck your feelings comes into play, because emotions and thoughts and feelings cannot play a factor in a situation
No.
like that, because the world doesn't give a shit about your emotions. The winning and success and business and life and money doesn't understand or comprehend your feelings.
Yep, and that shirt I wear, nobody cares. It's not an insult to saying nobody cares about you, but nobody gives a shit if you fail. The world doesn't care.
And the world isn't going to pay for it.
They're not
either.
going to help you out and say, here's a handout. Nope, you have no trust fund. Here you go. You got to get back up and just say, you know what? That was a good right hook. Ooh, that was pretty good. I respect that. Take this uppercut.
It's kind of like the best scenario or the best example would be, I think it's Rocky IV when he's fighting the Russian.
Oh, yeah.
In those final rounds, he keeps getting smashed, falls down, gets right back up, hit to the floor, gets right back up. And then eventually the Russian says, "This guy's made of iron,
Steel or something." Yeah.
something like that." And he's like, every time I hit him, no matter how hard I hit him, no matter how hard he goes down, he gets right back up and doesn't waste any time getting back up. And that's really how it needs to be: taking blows that hard and getting up just as fast.
Yeah, because you kill the will of the world and you start winning.
Say that again.
When you kill the will of the world, you start winning.
That is fucking fantastic. Well said, bro.
Thanks, man. I get one.
You get one.
Check mark.
That was great. But that's life, that's business, that's entrepreneurship. And I think people look at those that are doing extremely well. We're not even on that extremely well level, but we're on that climb. And people think that they just got it easy. And they think that because they're living their life of their dreams now, their jets, the money, the cars, the house, the family, the things that they get to do and experiences they get to have with their family, that they have it easy, and they must have had it easy. And it's like, no, those motherfuckers are grinding harder than us combined behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Just because what we see on social media, like for me, and I've said this before, anytime I see people at high levels of supreme wealth, I want to know how their brain is operating. I'm not wondering like, oh, one day I want to be there, or one day how am I going to get there? I'm wondering like, what kind of person does it take to have that level of wealth and success? What type of person does it take to run a company like that? I want to know what's inside that person's brain to become that. And I think that's a big part where people fail. They just kind of see the external end, and they don't take into consideration how does this person operate on a day-to-day basis? Just because we see certain things, like certain people see certain things about me on a surface basis, they have no clue what's happening behind the scenes.
No, it's not.
And there's a lot of hardcore grind, hustle, fucking blood, sweat, and tears.
You see us on the podium on Instagram, but you don't see us in the trenches in the war. We're fighting every day. It's a blow. And we clean ourselves. Hey, how's it going? Great. Look at us. Woo.
Well, you know why? Because you have to, I think you saw this. You have to show up every day.
Yeah.
Showing up when you feel like it is not an option. Showing up when it's convenient is not an option. You don't get to pick and choose who, where, when, and what you want to show up for. That's never an option. That will never be an option for me. I will never be okay with myself if I chose when and who and where I want to show up for. I have made a mental decision that no matter what, at all costs, I will always show up 100% presence for anybody, everybody, my businesses, my clients, everything, because it's just not an option. The moment I choose to not show up is the moment I start taking shit for granted and I start to lose the things that I have worked so hard for.
Sure. Absolutely. I agree 100%, man. You just got to keep your head down. I know that we're winding down the show, right? Is there anything you want to add to this conversation? Any input you want people to leave with through the weekend?
Honestly, just
weekend?
If you're going to make a transition, pick your timing wisely. Don't just jump because you think you're ready. You have to make sure you look at all the factors first before you decide to make your jump.
Right.
Or you're in for a really nasty battle. It's already a hard enough battle as it is.
Oh.
Don't make it harder on yourself because you want to have this egotistical pride and not weigh out all the factors to make sure the timing is right, because the timing might not be right. 3 out of 4 factors might be ready. If one's not, you don't pull the trigger yet. Unless you're in a really fucked up place and you're just like, I'm going to mentally break if I don't walk away. That would be like one of those very few exceptions. But most of the time, make sure all factors are in line. So when you go, that's the last thing that you have to worry about.
Nice. That's a good message to all the listeners out there. I just want to thank everybody that's coming on the channel. We're fairly new. I mentioned earlier that
Very new.
we restructured. I made a post on Facebook. We started with a new engineering crew, if you will, right? So we restarted over.
Sticky Paw Studios.
Failing forward, like you say, we didn't fail, but we learned and we adjusted and we corrected, and now we're going true north. And so this has been a thing in the works for a while, but now it's just starting to take action. It's starting to take, people are coming on. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow us. Hit the like button.
If you find value in us, just share it with your friends, your family members, and you never know. Any one of our episodes could help make a shift in someone's life.
And turn on the notification indicator, right? And share it on Instagram. We're on Instagram. You got Sean's IG, my IG. We're putting it on YouTube. It's going to be. We're starting to do podcasts as well, putting it on podcasts on radio. So. Yeah. That's another thing we're working on. But again, we appreciate your value, and we'll be back again. Sean, send them off.
Yeah, if you guys have any requests for a certain topic you'd like us to talk about, please put it in the comments or in one of our DMs. We will be more than happy to oblige.
Right on.
Have a great day.
Stay strong.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the channel. If you like what you saw today, find value in what you saw, please share with your friends and family.
And make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, and in the comment sections below, let us know which topics you would like us to cover in the future.